Okay, so apparently they are fighting again in the Middle East. Let me show you what's going on. These are your headlines. U.S. and Iran trade fire in the Strait of Hormuz. Each claims the other shot first. My first reaction, honestly, does it matter at this point? Because it looks like we're at war. At least from general appearances, we are fighting. You can see it. And also, the U.S. military says intercepted unprovoked Iranian attacks and responded with self-defense strikes. But when I see this, I think, well, you're sailing within range of them. Clearly, I wouldn't call that unprovoked. You're in their backyard, so who shot first? I'll let you be the judge of that. Again, each side is claiming the other shot first, but we are within range of them. Just imagine if Iran or any country said, hey, we're just going to hang out in your backyard, off the coast of Texas, Florida, California, or Maine, and we're not going to let your ships trade. How do you think the USA would feel? My point of view on this is simple. Bring our troops home. It's an easy decision. Let's just get them out of harm's way. But no, apparently we want to sail closer within range, and now we're trading shots. Here's the other headline. U.S. fires at Iranian targets as Trump demands Iran accept the deal. What we're talking about here are ships like these. According to CBS, citing U.S. officials, the USS Tungsten and the USS Mason came under intense attack from Iranian attack boats, drones, and missiles. So, multiple things at once. According to these reports, and you never know for sure until you see pictures, and I'll show you if I find some, this engagement has been characterized as far fiercer than past engagements these two vessels were involved in. We're talking about 5-inch deck guns, small arms, equipment, personnel on board, aircraft, and CIWS, all employed to repel Iranian attacks. Despite claims from Iran that they were struck, neither vessel was hit during the engagement. And then, Trump was reportedly calling reporters on the phone, which, as you know, is something Trump does all the time. According to Rachel Scott, President Trump tells me in a phone call that the retaliatory strikes against Iranian targets are just a love tap. That's according to Trump. When she asked if the ceasefire was over, Trump said, quote, No, the ceasefire is going. It's in effect. Yet we're shooting. I mean, right? And here are some replies. Someone said, Trump is determined to create $8 a gallon gas before July 4th. And then someone else responded with a John Candy meme. Okay, this is where we're at. Central Command then says they are protecting warships transiting the Strait of Hormuz. And again, this is what I was saying. How would you feel if another country's Navy said, hey, we're just going to hang out, not let you trade, and sail around your waters? Fantastic. Now here's the statement from Trump. He's saying 3 ships, 3 world-class American destroyers just transited very successfully out of the Strait of Hormuz under fire. CBS mentioned 2. Trump is saying 3. Doesn't matter at this point, but I'm just showing you what he says. There was no damage done to the 3 destroyers, but great damage was done to the Iranian attackers. They were completely destroyed, along with numerous small boats, which were being used to take the place of their fully decapitated navy. These boats went to the bottom of the sea quickly and efficiently. Missiles were shot at our destroyers and were easily knocked down. Likewise, drones came and were incinerated while in the air. They dropped ever so beautifully down to the ocean, very much like a butterfly dropping to its grave. Okay then. A normal country would have allowed these destroyers to pass, but Iran is not a normal country. They are led by lunatics. So Trump is calling other leaders lunatics. And then he adds, if they had the chance to use a nuclear weapon, they would do it without question. But they'll never have that opportunity. Just like we knocked them out again today, we'll knock them out a lot harder and a lot more violently in the future if they don't get their deal signed fast. Our 3 destroyers, with their wonderful crews, will now rejoin our naval blockade, which is truly a wall of steel. President Donald J. Trump. So that's what the President of the United States is posting. And we're acting like, oh, we're just being defensive. Just sailing through Hormuz, minding our business. Oh, they shot at us. We shot back. and apparently we destroyed everything, according to Trump. I mean, this is just crazy. Now let me show you what Iran says. This came out about an hour ago. Iran accuses US of violating the ceasefire. A spokesperson for Iran's central headquarters says the U.S. violated the ceasefire by targeting an Iranian oil tanker moving from Iranian coastal waters toward the Strait of Hormuz, as well as another ship entering Hormuz opposite the UAE port of Fujairah. The spokesperson also said, quote, "The U.S. carried out airstrikes on civilian areas in cooperation with some countries in the region on the coast of Bandar Abbas and Qeshm Island. Iran's military, in retaliation, attacked American military vessels east of the Strait of Hormuz and south of Chabahar port, causing significant damage." The spokesperson warned that Iran will give a crushing response to any aggression without the slightest hesitation. So those are the words being traded back and forth. Again, this does not sound like a ceasefire to me. It sounds like escalation. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I checked oil prices. They're only ticking up a little bit, but they are going up. You have to watch the full story here and understand the seriousness of this situation. You simply cannot claim ceasefire while actively exchanging fire. Meanwhile, over at Fox News, they want you worried about Luke Skywalker and Mark Hamill. No, seriously. Apparently, Mark Hamill posted a tweet they don't like, and that's what we're supposed to be talking about. Great. But here's the reality. People are losing their jobs and the economy is struggling. Here's what's going on with small businesses in the USA. A lot of them are really struggling for a range of reasons, including chaotic tariff policy, expensive health insurance, and lately surging energy costs. Some of them have been forced to cut the very few workers they were employing in the first place. When you look at the smallest small businesses, those employing fewer than 10 people, they slashed almost 300,000 jobs last year. That's the most in at least 10 years. That is 4 times as many jobs cut as in 2020. So yes, more job cuts last year than during COVID. This data comes from Democrats on the Joint Economic Committee, who dug into QuickBooks data. They also found that this trend has continued into this year. People are losing their jobs under Trump. And in fact, this is worse than COVID. And on top of that, his tariff policies are being ruled illegal. This just came out. Trade court rules against Trump's global tariff. The U.S. Court of International Trade dealt a blow to the 10% global import tax. A 2-judge panel, the Specialized Federal Court in New York, ruled that the president's order imposing a 10% global tariff under Section 122 of the 1974 trade law was invalid. Trump cited the nation's trade deficit as justification, but under the law he referenced, the United States must be suffering large and serious balance of payment deficits, which the court found was not the case. So basically, more of his tariffs are being struck down. Long story short, a lot of what Trump is doing is being ruled illegal. This is where we are. We're trying to start wars while Americans are suffering, and we're trying to impose more costs on Americans, punishing everyone. And then you look at the result of what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz and the Middle East. This is from Shell. The oil market is short nearly 1 billion barrels due to the Iran conflict, and the hole deepens every day. I want to make this super clear. This is not just U.S. and Iran. It's not just Israel and Iran. This affects the entire world. And Trump keeps making demands that Iran may simply not agree to. Multiple countries are now stepping in, essentially saying, cut it out. Can we work something out? Because again, this affects everyone, and yet we appear to be looking for a fight. If we were truly serious about peace, we could pull our Navy out. We could say, okay, we're not going to bomb and threaten. Let's come to the table and find a real solution. But instead, our idea of peace seems to be sailing our Navy as close as possible until the shooting starts, and then saying, oh, they shot at us. We have to bomb them back. And then war starts again. That's sort of where we're at. I think this whole thing is ridiculous. It's a massive waste of money. And when you look at how Americans are actually doing, things are bad. And they're getting worse on multiple fronts, not just one or two things. And Trump's whole plan, apparently, is to build a bunker, hide, and have his new Secret Service operating directly under his control in the White House. That's what's going on. Please stay safe out there, and I'll catch you on the next one.